Hi, everybody. We have 10 fabulous fiction writers who have parts of their 43 single-space page book to share with you. Not all of it, I promise. But if you want to read more, there are some in the gallery. Otherwise, Zoe's going to get us started.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Zoe. I cannot believe there is a possible timeline in which we do not meet. When each strand comes together, when all the ends meet, I just hope you will be the one to finish it all. When the gun is pressed to my temple and my heart is racing, I will close my eyes and pray that the finger on the trigger will be yours.
Hi, I'm Julia. Mother turned to face the wall, and her expression tightened. We lost our home because of him, because he thought he could change the way life was meant to be. You will work hard, and you will not bring shame to this family. Is that understood? Yes, Mother. She bowed her head sincerely. Then she raised her head and spoke the only true words of that conversation. I will do anything to get her home back.
Hi, I'm Sam. This is a brief excerpt from my story. The brisk air was cold, like a slap in the face after leaving her nice hot dorm. Roxy had received the second invitation 2 days ago. Belleville Park, midnight the 21st. She was supposed to be there at midnight, and it was 11:59, but she didn't see anything. She sat down, feeling the grass on her hands. Cool, a bit prickly. There were a lot of stars out tonight.
Hi, everyone. I'm Debbie, and this is an excerpt from my story, Gold. I often feel vulnerable sharing names with others. It gives them something to refer to you as, a piece of you, a way of knowing you. You assume something of others the moment you look at them, no matter what they're doing, what they look like. She knows something of me now, a child I met on a porch, praying for the people of sin inside, praying they'll be cleansed, they'll be found. The thing she knows is not even my own. Mason isn't me. My name isn't Mason. I'm a facade, a mirage, along with other assumptions she can now connect to the name Mason. She has a collection, a collage of myself, missing horse, shaggy hair, high voice, all now laid out with a label in her mind.
Debbie's really tall. Okay. My name is Bones. I spent a week and 3 days more in the house I had once shared with my parents, trying desperately to carry on as if nothing had happened. I opened the windows to air out the smell, I put the spade back in the tool shed, and I made a desperate attempt to live alone. I did not want to go to Poppy Field, likely filled with people and their sympathies. I did not want to talk to anyone. It was during this time that, as a byproduct of my unacknowledged loneliness, I began to sew puppets.
I'm Lucia. Hi, Lucia. Philip's blood suddenly became painfully cold, the color completely draining from his face, his heart pumping viciously amongst the chaos. He turned to look up at the man in his leather pants, his hair a mess, framing his pale face. His eyes were dark now, his smile eerie. It wasn't him, it wasn't the bartender that stood before Philip. His dear friend had been possessed.
Hi, I'm Abigail, and this is an excerpt from my story, The Time Traveler. It was hot, typical for the jungle environment, the heavy gear stuck to our backs by our sweat. The leeches and mosquitoes were unavoidable, and we all knew how dangerous the malaria that some carried was. I understand that the Viet Cong hid in the forest using it as a shield. And now I understood to the full extent why America eventually pulled out of Vietnam. The generals didn't tell us anything. and that feeling of uncertainty made everything 1,000 times worse. The soldiers didn't want to do anything the generals told them to do, because they all thought it was stupid, and to be honest, it might have been. I was running between two trees when a Viet Cong soldier jumped out from behind the tree. I ducked, giving room for the person behind me to shoot him. I grabbed my gun from its holster and started shooting. The rest of the company joined in. The next few shots sent Viet Cong soldiers falling from the trees, but there were surely many more up there that were holding their nerve. I saw one soldier aiming for Robert. "Robert," I yelled, dashing for him and throwing him out of the way. Bam! I fell back onto the wet, moist jungle floor.
Hello, my name is Mishka, and this is a small part of my story. As I continued to gaze out of the window where little raindrops stuck to the glass, I noticed the small mountains in the distance that felt all too familiar. The last time I hadn't been living in the city was 4 years ago, when I lived here in Vermont, until we moved to New York City. My life in the last 4 years had been a social roller coaster. Our parents decided it would be good to be more connected to the world. We lived in a nice apartment. My father was a fireman, my mom a teacher, until me, my mom, and my brother had to go back and live in Vermont, since she couldn't afford rent in the city alone. For 4 years, I lived an absolute perfect life. I had plenty of friends at school, and some kids called me a jerk, but it never bothered me in the slightest. Moron, bully, asshole, I didn't really listen to them anyway. It's not like they were popular or anything. I'm pretty sure they didn't have any friends whatsoever, so of course I'd paint them out on a canvas for their unnatural flaws and such. To be completely honest, it was their own fault for sticking out in the first place. It's like they want to be picked on or something. Weird is all I could place them for, someone or something out of place.
Hello, my name is Lynx. Ignore the fact I'm very wet. When she paused and tensed up while glaring daggers at a bush to her left, it was pretty easy to determine something was wrong. Or at least it should have been. No one has ever claimed Alex's last name as observant, and occurrences at his knees were not often something he cared to examine. And so it is with no knowledge of the peril he is in that Alex walks straight ahead, not even scanning his surroundings. He is without a doubt the only person to blame for what happens next.
Hello, my name is Alex. I reach the men, and the leader lunges at me. I dodge and effortlessly disarm him, flinging his sword to the ground. I can hear him breathing heavily, and I know I have already won. He draws a knife from his boot and retreats back to his gang. "Kill her, you fools," he shouts. One of the men bristles at the insult, but still comes at me, wielding a shoddily made club. He raises his arm to strike, and I quickly kick him in his unprotected stomach. He buckles over, and I kick his knee out, sending him to the floor. I suddenly turn with a surge of panic. Having gained their senses, the remaining 2 men are charging at me. Their leader is stalking after them, his pride wounded.